There is a story that religion does not want you to know. A story about the angel that God loved so much that the fear of that perfection is what destroyed him. His name was Lucifer, bearer of light, morning star. He was not a demon from the beginning. He became one. And what you're about to discover will question everything you think you know about the origin of evil, about God, and about free will. Because the truth is, Lucifer did not fall because he was weak. He fell because he was too strong. Imagine for a moment. You are the most perfect being in the universe. Your beauty is incomparable. Your power is undeniable. You stand beside God at the top of the celestial hierarchy. You are a cherub, one of the angels closest to the divine throne. And then you realize something. You notice that there is someone beside God who receives more attention than you. There is a son, Jesus, who will receive worship that will never be yours. And there is a decision that God makes to create inferior beings, humans, in his image, and love them as he loves you. How would you react if you were perfect, beautiful, powerful, and suddenly discovered that your perfection was not enough? That you were replaceable, that there were limits even to your greatness? Well, Lucifer reacted in a way that would forever change the course of all creation. Before he was the enemy, before he was Satan, before he was the embodiment of evil that you learned about in Sunday school, Lucifer was more than an angel. He was art. He was perfection. He was the crown jewel of God. His name, Lucifer, means bearer of light or morning star. And this was no metaphor. He shone with a beauty so radiant that no celestial being compared to him. His form was transcendent. His presence was indescribable. Ancient texts even describe his wings, wings of gold and precious stones, too wondrous for the human mind to fully comprehend. And it was not just beauty. Lucifer was a cherub, the second most powerful category of angels in the celestial realm. He was wise, he was intelligent, he had authority. His place was near the throne of God. His access was unrestricted. He was literally the being closest to divine power that exists, second in command of the entire universe. The question you must ask is, how could someone so perfect, so close to God, so blessed, decide to leave it all behind? The answer is more disturbing than you think. Lucifer began to feel something that no angel should feel in heaven, dissatisfaction. And it all began with an observation. You see, Lucifer stood before God every day. He witnessed divine glory constantly. But there was a detail that intrigued him, that obsessed him, that slowly consumed him. Jesus, the Son of God, the one whom God loved in a special way. Lucifer realized that God was treating Jesus differently, that there was a special plan for the Son, that one day humans, fragile creatures, inferior, made in the image of God but clearly below the angels, would receive more worship than he would, than the angels would. And then came the thought that would change everything. Why can't I be God? Why am I not worthy of worship? Why must I be below anything? The first sin of the universe was not disobedience, it was pride. And pride is more dangerous when it comes from something real, when you truly are exceptional. Because how do you question your own greatness when the proof is in everything you are? Lucifer did not keep his thoughts to himself. He began to whisper, to sow doubt, to plant seeds of rebellion among the angels, his celestial companions, who were also beginning to question the divine order. His message was simple but devastating. Why do we serve God? Why do we accept being lesser than the sun? Why do we worship instead of being worshipped? Why don't we rise up against this injustice? And it worked. About a third of the angels, imagine, billions of celestial beings, heard Lucifer's whisper and decided to follow his call. They decided to rebel against God. They decided to walk beside the one who promises freedom from divine oppression. But what Lucifer offered was not freedom. It was illusion. It was the same trap he had fallen into, the idea that you deserved more, that the rules did not apply to you, that your greatness justified disobedience. The angels who followed him did not know, could not know, that they were walking toward their own damnation. Just as everyone who follows this same logic does today, heaven did not remain silent about Lucifer's rebellion. There were those who remained faithful to God, and at their head was Michael the archangel, the celestial warrior, the defender of the divine realm. The Bible describes this briefly in the book of Revelation. A war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But think about what this means. This was not an ordinary war. This was a collision of celestial forces, angels against angels, light against corrupted light, obedience against rebellion. The very fabric of reality was being torn. Lucifer, with all his beauty and power, with billions of angels under his command, with his seductive charisma and his persuasive arguments, still lost. Because no matter how powerful you are, no matter how many followers you have, no matter how convincing your rebellion is, you cannot defeat God. And when Lucifer truly understood this, in the moment when his defeat became inevitable, something in his heart broke. A transformation occurred. That beauty began to distort. That light began to fade. The bearer of light became a creature of darkness. The perfect Lucifer ceased to exist, and Satan was born. Lucifer's fall was not instantaneous. It was not a simple command from God saying, "Leave my kingdom." It was a slow, agonizing, and complete transformation. Imagine, you were worshipped. Now you are hated. You were beautiful. Now you are repugnant. You were close to God. Now you are eternally separated from him. You had power. Now you possess only the ability to destroy. Isaiah 14 describes his fall in devastating terms. How you have fallen from heaven, O morning star. You were cast down to the earth, you who laid low the nations. And Ezekiel 28 adds disturbing details about his corruption. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created until iniquity was found in you. But here is the most frightening truth. Lucifer saw it coming. On some level, deep in that corrupted heart, he knew. God is omniscient, he knows all things, so he knew that Lucifer would fall. He knew from the beginning. The question that should disturb you is, why did God allow this to happen? Why did he create a being that he knew would rebel? Was even Lucifer's fall part of the plan? These are questions that theologians have debated for centuries, and no one has a definitive answer. After his expulsion from heaven, Lucifer, now Satan, did not disappear. He did something even more sinister. He descended to earth, and he began exactly as he had begun in heaven, whispering, seducing, convincing humanity that they deserved more, that God was wrong, that the rules did not apply to them. His first victim, Eve. He whispered the same message he had whispered to the angels. You will be like God. You deserve knowledge. You deserve power. Why accept limitations? And humanity, just like a third of the angels, fell into the same trap. To this day, we live with the consequences of this double fall, that of Lucifer and that of humanity. War, hate, suffering, death, all began with the whisper of a being who was once pure beauty, but who chose pride over obedience. Lucifer became living proof that even perfection can be corrupted by the desire to be more than you were made to be. But Lucifer's story leaves us with questions that are never fully answered. First, if God is all-powerful and omniscient, why didn't he prevent Lucifer's fall? Didn't he know it would happen? Simple answer, he knew. So why? Second, did Lucifer truly have free will, or was he destined to fall? If God knew he would rebel, was free will real or illusory? This is the question that has divided theologians for 2,000 years. Third, and perhaps the most disturbing, does God still love Lucifer? After everything that happened, after all the rebellion and suffering he caused, is there still love in the divine heart for the one who was once the morning star? The Bible does not answer, and this ambiguity is precisely what makes Lucifer's story so eternal and disturbing. Because if even a being so perfect, so loved, so close to God can fall so completely, what does that say about us? About our own falls? About our own capacity to corrupt ourselves? There is a crucial difference that most people do not understand. Lucifer was, in the past, the angel of light, the perfect being. Satan is, in the present, the adversary, the enemy, the creator of all evil. These are not different names for the same thing at the same time. They are the same being at different stages of existence. It is as if you knew someone who was once good, kind, and pure, and watched him transform completely into something horrible. Lucifer was that person before. Satan is that person after. And the tragedy of this is that both transformations occurred not through a change in essence, but through choice. Through a series of bad choices that began with small dissatisfaction and ended in eternal condemnation. Lucifer's story is not just about an angel who fell. It is about the most dangerous lesson the universe can teach. That perfection does not protect you. That closeness to God does not guarantee obedience. That intelligence and power can become weapons against yourself. That pride, especially when grounded in something real, is capable of destroying even the greatest among us, and that the fall never comes from one big choice. It comes from small ones, small dissatisfactions, small questions, small steps in the wrong direction until you wake up and realize you have already fallen completely. If this story touched you, if it left you with questions, if it made you think differently about what you believed you knew, leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel for more stories that official religion does not want you to know. Comment below. Do you think Lucifer had any chance at redemption? Should God have forgiven him? Because this conversation does not end here. It is just beginning. Lucifer's story continues in every choice we make, in every moment we question whether we deserve more, in every whisper that tempts us to disobey, because Satan may have fallen from heaven, but he never stopped whispering. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.